What's going on, guys? I'm Dana and welcome back to Idea Studio, where we look at ideas through the lens of design. But today I want to talk to you about something different, and that is why I ended up in Thailand, or how I ended up in Thailand, why this was my choice, why I quit my six-figure job as an engineer in the US, left everything behind, and settled down in Bangkok. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, guys. That really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell icon so you don't miss any videos. And after you guys watch this, if you have any questions about exiting your own career or putting aside what you're doing and coming to pursue something new in Asia or anywhere else in the world, maybe I can share some of my personal experience with you. So leave it down in the comments and I will definitely respond. I think I should give a little bit of background, because I was such a nerd. I was such a tech guy, and I loved the engineering that I did in telecom, working on the back end of the internet, making connections, moving bits across glass, essentially. To me, that was the pinnacle of my engineering world. That's all I ever wanted to do. And when I got there, unfortunately, I found that the culture in the company I worked for around engineering was incredibly toxic, and they didn't value engineers that much. We were essentially a commodity, and it was becoming more and more like the job of a technician as they re-centralized all of the work that we did. This led to me just really not feeling super happy with the work I was doing or where I was at with my career. I always had this sort of passion for design and for art and creating and making things, and I knew I wanted my life to go in that direction. I just didn't know how yet, or how I was gonna achieve it, how I was gonna execute that. And I remember one day I was out for lunch with my boss and this other guy who I worked with, another engineer, and it was a smaller system that I was in at the time, and it was just really the three of us in the engineering department. And I remember them just talking about like the type of work we were doing and what was in the pipeline. And none of these were exciting or challenging jobs for me. It was nothing that I wanted to really do. It's nothing I felt a connection to. And so I just sort of made the decision at that moment that I need to find an exit strategy. I need to plan to get out of this job. And so over the next few months, I started thinking, where should I go? What should I do? And I had been to Asia a few times, and I knew that I enjoyed it here. I loved Bangkok. It really is the greatest city in the world. I mean, it's a modern city with this really ancient history and the street food, but there's also these amazing Michelin star restaurants and all of this phenomenal life that goes on here. There's a beautiful culture around art and craft, and I knew this is where I needed to be. I knew this is where I wanted to be, and I had to come here. So I started to put plans in motion. I was setting money aside, and I sold my house, I sold my cars, I got everything down to a suitcase, my computer. I quit my six-figure engineering job, I jumped on a plane and landed here in Thailand. Like I said, I knew I wanted to be involved in creating, in making, in designing things. I just didn't know what that was gonna look like at the time. I didn't even know what it was gonna look like when I left. And so it wasn't long after I got here, I ended up partnering with one of my friends back in the US who we had been talking about a business idea for a while, and we started a wearable tech company. I started heading up essentially R&D here in Thailand. We put a lot of money into it, and unfortunately it didn't work out, but it was sort of that first step in that direction. Having had a background in startups before I was an engineer, and even having a few sort of side hustles or small businesses while I was an engineer, I sort of was able to transition into that world pretty well. And I ended up, after we decided to close the wearable tech company down, I went to work for another telematics company as their chief data scientist. And I did a lot of fundraising with them, and I did a lot of the data design on the back end of their system. But after a few years, they were still struggling with cash. Even though we had raised some money, they weren't getting the traction they wanted. And so I decided to step away from my full-time role there, started another company that did biometric analysis. That worked out pretty well for me, and then sort of sent me on this other sort of journey, creating content with a Malaysian company, traveling all over Asia, interviewing entrepreneurs, interviewing politicians, business people. It was really a great year and a half of creating content. And when all of that sort of concluded, I was sitting back in Bangkok and talking with Jib, and she had already been in this craft world, in this art world as a business person herself, and I knew this is more what I wanted to do. I wanted to take the opportunity to do something smaller, more manageable, and not have to worry about scale and traction and all this other stuff, where I could work with just a few clients and really be happy. We sat down and talked about, what would a design studio look like for us, and what could we do? And we started to put those pieces in place, and we moved out of the center of the city, got away from that condo life, ended up here in the studio, and started putting together the pieces that we needed to make it reality, to prototype the items that we need or that we want to build, and really start to take off with it. And it's worked so well for us. I mean, we've been incredibly happy. And I know a lot of you guys came over from Chris's video about my neighborhood and about my studio. I love where we live. It is phenomenal. Like, the food is great, it's a quiet neighborhood, it's really wonderful, but I'm still so close to everything in the city. It's so fantastic. Jib, what do you think of the design studio and what we do now? Do you enjoy this more than being a researcher?
Of course, enjoy, and it's like I like every day that I wake up and come downstairs to work.
It feels like we really do more interesting stuff, I would say, and more challenging from a design perspective. And as we talk more about like the art stuff that we do, like that's maybe not the profitable stuff for the studio, but the stuff that's really a little bit more passion to it, right?
Yes. Passion and enjoy.
Enjoy it, yeah. And we get to work together every day, which is amazing. So, I mean, otherwise, like, we've worked when I've been outside of the studio or outside of the house, and, it's tiring, and I come back, I'm exhausted, you're exhausted from working all day, but I think we have better energy working together all day long and kind of collaborating and doing stuff, and I feel like we get more out of the day productivity-wise. Do you agree? Yeah? Definitely the right choice. Now, I'm not going to tour you guys around the studio today. I want to really put together a proper video and talk about all the different things we do and all the aspects of the studio. So I will get into that, I promise. But I really just want to do this in place of the walk and talk videos I would normally do, because the air quality has been so bad in Bangkok, I can't really get out and film something. But the next couple videos will definitely be out into Bangkok, talking about ideas, doing those walk and talk videos. I'm working on another project right now as well with a custom pair of sneakers. I'm putting that video together and a few other things in the mix, but content will continue to flow regularly. And so yeah, just setting up in Thailand, setting up here and getting going. I mean, over the 8 years I've been here has been a great journey, a fantastic learning experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's all I have for you guys today. I wanted to put something out quick just to make sure I'm staying in touch with you guys, keeping the idea team informed, letting you know what's going on. If there's anything you want to see specifically in Bangkok or anywhere you'd like me to do one of my walk and talk videos, feel free to leave that down in the comments. I'm open to suggestions. I want to get out to a whole different slew of areas in the city. And until next time, guys, keep taking action, make your ideas reality.